Over the last century, there have been dozens of daring prison escapes, audacious heists, and unbelievable mysteries, but few are more captivating than the perplexing tale of D.B. Cooper, the man who vanished into thin air. On November 24, 1971, the day before Thanksgiving, a man in his mid-40s boarded Northwest Orient Flights 305 from Portland to Seattle. He was calm, polite, and carried a black briefcase. He gave his name as Don Cooper, later misreported by the media as D.B. Cooper. Throughout the flight, nothing seemed out of the ordinary, and so it came as a shock when 45 minutes into the flight, he handed a note to a flight attendant. It read, "I have a bomb." What followed was one of the most legendary heists in American history. He calmly showed the bomb in his briefcase, red cylinders, wires, a trigger, and laid out his demands. $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck ready in Seattle. In exchange, he'd release the passengers and no one would get hurt. Upon landing in Seattle, Cooper's demands were met. He allowed the 36 passengers to disembark and then instructed the crew to get the rear air stair ready. As the plane sat on the tarmac, the crew radioed the control tower that they had a possible hostage situation. But what they didn't know was that Cooper had already made his move. After takeoff, somewhere over the dense forests of Washington, he opened the rear air stair in the middle of a thunderstorm and parachuted into the night. An immediate manhunt was launched, but Cooper was nowhere to be found. He left behind a mystery that has endured for over 50 years. Despite one of the largest FBI investigations in history, no trace of him was ever found. No body, no parachute, no gear, just a few clues. In 1980, 9 years after the audacious heist, a young boy was digging on the banks of the Columbia River when he uncovered a small plastic bag. Over 800 suspects were considered. There was Kenneth Christensen, an experienced skydiver, an Army veteran who knew the area, but he had a solid alibi and was cleared. There was also Richard McCoy, a Vietnam veteran and criminal who pulled off his own skydive heist in 1974. But despite being a prime suspect, McCoy was never charged. And there were plenty of other leads: ex-militaries, skydivers, escaped prisoners, and even airline employees. But none were confirmed. It wasn't long before theories began to surface. Was Cooper a highly skilled criminal who pulled off the impossible and got away clean? A desperate man with a death wish who saw the jump as a way out? Or was he a ghost figure, real or fabricated, whose story now lives larger than the truth? Almost immediately after the FBI took over the investigation, questions were raised about the very nature of the crime. Had a real-life man orchestrated this elaborate scheme, or had the media simply conjured up a modern-day Robin Hood to captivate the publicist imagination? You see, from the beginning, the media latched on to Cooper's story. Take, for instance, the name D.B. Cooper. The hijacker identified himself as Don Cooper, but in the confusion following the audacious escape, the media misreported his name as D.B. Cooper. The moniker stuck, and to this day, few people know that D.B. Cooper may not have existed at all. Then there was the question of motive. Cooper had a wife and kids. Why put them at risk? He also had a job and a life. Why jeopardize it all? Some believed Cooper was a seasoned criminal who planned the heist meticulously. Others thought he was a desperate man looking for a way out. And still others wondered if he was a figment of the media's imagination, a composite character reflecting America's fascination with daring escapes and audacious criminals. The mystery of D.B. Cooper remains one of the most enduring mysteries of the 20th century. Over the years, the FBI poured countless hours into tracking down leads. They followed up on hundreds of sightings, interviewed countless witnesses, and chased down every possible suspect. But Cooper seemed to have vanished into thin air. In 2016, the FBI officially closed the investigation, deeming it an unforeseeable closure for an improbable crime. But many believe that Cooper got away clean. He lived out the rest of his days under a false identity, safe in the knowledge that he'd fooled the best in the business. So what do you think? Did D.B. Cooper really exist? If so, how did he escape? And did he survive? Let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching.